What's up, guys? This is Vanilla. Not the flavor, but just the sweet. So again, another real talk. And this time, I'm going to talk about something very, very controversial. And it's about, well, not really, well, still, I'm just going to straight out say it. Child pornography. Child pornography. Okay, so there was an article that came out, I think this was March 5th. I don't know, I was traveling a lot last week, and I'm not sure if I think it is last week. And I saw this article about BBC's documentary, making a documentary about child pornography in Japan. Not real child pornography, but JK or Joshi Kosei. Now it came out on March 8th. Okay, thank goodness. I'm totally out of this. Okay, anyway, there was an article here I saw from, as embarrassing it is, Sankak Complex, and it talks about BBC trying to document Joshi Kosei, or high school kids. That's weird because Joshi Kosei also already means high school girls, doesn't mean really as high school prostitute. Anyway, it's a documentary about child pornography. Anyway, what struck me about this is that the girl who was interviewing, I think the name of the girl, the one documentary is Dooley. Now, Dooley interviewed the guy Takeshi Nogami, who is the creator of Girls on Panzu. Now, if you know that series, it's full of tanks, it's full of girls. You mix them together, Girls on Panzu. Now, anyway, during this interview, there was this talk about child pornography, as I said before, but then Dooley suddenly mentioned human desires in child pornography. It's weird. Anyway, there's a video. I'll leave the link in the description below of the documentary itself. I don't know if this is found there, but I watched a video. I didn't find it anywhere. But anyway, I'm just gonna focus on the article first before I move on to the video. Now, the article talks about. I'm just gonna read it straight out. So during the interview, Nogami brought up the UK situation with poverty. By some measures, 20% of the population is in poverty or faces it, but was ignored entirely so that Dooley could instead state how she believes all fiction potentially sexualizing minors should be banned, and came off as a person who only wants to jail lolicon content creators. Now that pisses me off. Not only because she talked about manga creators or doujin creators, or whatever creators that create small girls or lolly characters, but she talks about how these persons should be jailed for creating something that doesn't exist. Now, I emphasize this topic a lot of times, that anime is just anime, real life is real life, but these Dooley is trying to mix those two together in a very bad way. Now, I'm not really trying to destroy Dooley or anything. I'm just saying that probably you should just focus on what Nogami is wanting to say, because that is basically what he sees as the problem in Japan. Now, yes, prostitution is a problem in Japan, but also all over the world, here in the Philippines itself. And I am really pissed off that there is a problem in child prostitution in the Philippines. I am. And there's also one in the UK. Don't think that you're innocent. There's also one in the US. Don't think you're innocent. Basically, everyone is not that innocent as Dooley thinks that they are. Because really, we are flawed people anyway. I study psychology. I know this. I study human behavior. And so I know when people differentiate real life from fantasy. I've studied that. Now let's just continue. So anyway, Girls in Panzu and Yoshiki were cited as examples of filth in a documentary that would qualify for a full documentary. However, in true line press fashion, was soon removed from YouTube, but is currently still available in Dailymotion. That's what I'm gonna put in the link description below, the video itself. Now, Takeshi Nogami's interview was omitted in this entirely for excessive levels of real talk and true think. Now, I'm gonna read this whole thing later, but before I want to talk about this part, they want what do you call this? Dooley used Girls and Panza and Yoshiki as examples for filth. Do you know how many anime there is? And you use those two, specifically just those two. What pisses me off is that these has nothing to do with child pornography. Girls and Panza is about tanks and girls fighting. What is there to pornography? Is pornography a word? I don't know, but I'm bringing it up anyway. Yoshiki, I'm not sure. Yoshiki, I haven't watched that yet, but Girls and Panza. That's still something that I'm really pissed off about. Now, here's the Twitter statement of Nagami. So, I was interviewed at my workplace, that's Dooley. Through the act, I realized the most important thing. I was thinking about releasing it online as manga, core difference between... Here. Okay, so Nagami's position was all human beings have dirty desires. Isn't it better to be vented appropriately? Now, that makes more sense because, what do you call this? Instead of venting it in real life, you might as well vent it in fantasy. However, Mrs. Sudi stated this: all human beings are naturally innocent and have no dirty desires. Ladies and gentlemen, we have someone who has never read the Bible before. Because if you have read the Bible or the Quran, you know that people, you might not like it, but we are corrupt. Now, not really corrupt, but flawed. Okay, I should probably say flawed. We are flawed. Okay, and she continues with it. Natural innocent, have no desires. Reading media depicting erotic, pedophilic, and gore contents will affect them to be corrupted. I don't know what to say about this. Because really, we were already corrupted in the first place. What? Just reading this and then venting it all out will make us even more corrupted. Then I'll just continue. Then I realized the definition of human being or operating system is different. After realizing this was that was long. Okay. On top of that, she said, with the look of a hitman from Black Lagoon, my desire is to put all pedophiles and ones who produce pedophilic media into jail. Now this pisses me off. How is the girl from Black Lagoon? Yes, she wears short shorts. And I forgot her name. Revi. Well, whatever. Yes, she's wearing skimpy clothes. But what does that have to do with pedophilia? Because the last time I checked, Revi was like in her 20s or 30s, I think. And pedophilia. How is that pedophilia? Really? Have you watched anime at all before you did this interview? Because if you didn't, then this is just bias. It's just literally bias. Now, anyway, what do you call this? Oh, so she continued, and then Nogami stated that solve poverty first, because legalizing fiction that has no victims will lower the crime rate. Exactly, I totally agree with that, because poverty is really a really bad, it's a really worldwide problem. I mean, it's a problem here in the Philippines. We're already a third world country. We're already a poor country. And then, we're already having a hard time. However, thinking about fiction, illegalizing these kinds of fiction before poverty? What, are you saying that fiction is more dangerous than poverty? Or is more or less more a problem than poverty? Are you freaking kidding me? Okay. Now, Miss Susie replied with a formal voice, why don't you Japanese follow what the UK does? I hate that. But then, Nogami answered, why don't you British people follow Japan, since we're more civilized and have a lower crime rate than the UK? Boom, roasted. Now, I love that so much because that makes more sense when you think about it. Now, I'm just going to continue with the article. While Nagami regretted the interview went in such a direction, he believed that his opinions were sure to be misrepresented by the old media stooge he faced in order to draw attention away from the UK's own excessively high rate of sex crimes. See, UK is the 30th highest in the world compared to Japan, which is only 54th. This is UK in terms of child pornography. This is Japan. See the difference? Now, Last paragraph. Okay, that was the last paragraph. And now, can you see how stupid this is now? Now, I'm gonna admit, I've read a lot of Loli Dojinshis, something like that, but I have never really wanted to try those kinds of things in real life because I know fantasy from reality. And I would never do those things. Why the frick would you think that people who read these things would do it in real life? Seriously. Now, I want to talk about, let's move on from the article and talk about the video in Dailymotion. Now, the video in Dailymotion, yes, it's talking about child pornography and Joshikose, and they're 15-year-olds and doing stuff like that. It's totally normal, even around the world. Now, I'm gonna move on to, I think there was a second to the last part of the video, which was talking about Ero Manga. Now, Dooley went to an Ero Manga store. By surprise, she went to the only place where she could actually relate to the topic that she had, which was pedophilia. She went to the section of lolis in that interview with the bald guy who knows what he's saying. And now, in that interview, she talked to him about how these materials might promote child prostitution. And then the guy was like, no, because everyone knows how to separate fantasy from reality. And then this Dooley says, but what about the creators? Are they trying to promote child pornography? I mean, why are they making these kinds of things? Are they also into child pornography? And then this the bald guy said, I forgot the name. Damn, I think it was June. Now, anyway, this guy said that no, because these artists, people mostly read this because of the art, because of the story, and these H mangas actually showed these stories. Actually state the topics of, for example, prostitution as well, and they tackle this topic in a very serious manner. Let's talk about Henshin. Henshin, one of the most depressing H mangas I have ever read, and one of the saddest. And what the bald guy said was actually correct, because when I read Henshin, I did not fap to it. I cried. Because the content was talking about prostitution and the aftermath of the prostitution. Now that, after reading this, I'm not sure anyone would want to try prostitution. Because they would now know the aftermath to it. And, damn it, I want to thank the artist for that one as well, for making Henshin, because I know that he makes a lot of really weird hentai doujins, but Henshin was one of the masterpieces that really brought attention to prostitution. And Dooley, I'm sorry, I can't stop saying Dooley, talking about Dooley, because really, she keeps on forcing her own ideals to this guy. And she always says that these kinds of materials should be banned because they promote child pornography, and then they make people into pedophiles, which is totally untrue. I cannot emphasize how untrue this is. Now, you can also have your own say in this. You can watch the video in Dailymotion below. One more thing, and you can only watch it in Dailymotion because she removed the video on YouTube. Yes, you know how news networks work. If it doesn't work out, they delete it. However, the internet is so big you will never be able to delete it. That's why I can't even delete my arrogant Let's Plays. But there's no pity in that one. Anyway, that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about, because yeah, how does reading loli H doujins, for example, make you a pedophile? If one, it would actually want you to become an artist at least, because Noise, for example, let's bring up Noise. Noise, she makes a lot of hentai doujins regarding lolis. Now, it's really cute. It's really cute, actually. If you want to read it, viewer discretion is advised, because it's graphic. Of course, it's an H doujin. Anyway, they're very cute characters, and I don't really go as far as wanting to have with that character. because it's cute. You know, cute doesn't necessarily mean sexy. Those are two different things. And people have their own fetish to begin with. I mean, people have a fetish for lingerie, stockings, and pantyhose like me. I can't believe I just said that. But anyway, and people have their version of lollies as a fetish. Now, lollies, there are a lot of lollies. And when you say lollies, it doesn't just necessarily talk about 12-year-old girls. It talks about 1,000-year-old girls too, with really petite bodies. Now, if Dooley have only watched anime, she would know this. However, she still forced her ideals that this material is promotes child pornography, promotes pedophilia. And I just want to talk to, I don't know if she's watching this right now, but, or BBC is talking right now, or CNN, or Crunchyroll. Not really, sorry about that joke. That was unintentional. But anyway, if any news outlet were to go out of this, please tell the truth. You started with the truth back then, during not really the medieval times, but I think the 15th century when news were not really 19th century. Anyway, your job was to tell the truth, and yet, what have you done? This is pretty much the last thing I want to share with you guys. I want you guys to shit. What? I want you guys to listen to this and just think about again. The news's job is to tell the truth, and yet what have you done? Keep that in your mind. Now, now I know this isn't really a new thing because it already happened to PewDiePie, and thank goodness he has already recovered from that. Love you, Pewds. Yeah. Anyway, that's pretty much all I want to talk about. I'm not gonna defend all this. I'm not gonna make this one a defense because there's nothing to defend to begin with. It's already been defended, and I don't want to attack Dooley. I want to attack Dooley, but that's not the type of person I am. But please, my last request from you guys, just remember this: the news shows that to tell the truth. But what have they done? This is vanilla, not the flavor, but just as sweet.